You heard it here first. Aaron Rodgers sucks.
BRB Blazer.
So, I mean, what's your thoughts on it? Why is it that you didn't have Rodgers ranked? I mean, these are early rankings, obviously, but why is that early rankings you didn't have him top 12?
Well, a couple of reasons. Well, you did touch on it where it's like, is it the coaching scheme? Is it him? I'm going to go on the him side first. It's like, I used to always argue that if Aaron Rodgers was in the Patriots system, he would have been the best quarterback. But like watching him the last year and a half, last year specifically, I would not make that argument.
Yeah.
I would be like, nope.
He did not look good.
He did not look good. And it's been a while. I mean, he hasn't reached the 30 touchdown mark in over 2 years. You could say 3 with the injury, but I'm going to discount that. So it's been a while. The completion percentage was low last year. The yardage was low. And yeah, they went out in the draft and they really wanted to make sure they're going to pass the ball more.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they did the exact opposite of that.
Dude, I can't believe it.
So it's like, okay, yeah, Mike McCarthy, or not Mike McCarthy, what's his name? Head coach for the
Matt
LaFleur.
You should
He's
have
talking
known
about
that,
how they just need to
LaFleur.
add another running back into the mix. And what did they do? They went out and added another running back to the mix. Didn't give him any more weapons. You know, we did that stat last year. We were looking at Josh Allen versus Aaron Rodgers. It was like outside of that 5 touchdown game or something stupid he had, he was like not even in the top like 12 quarterbacks.
It was bad.
It just arrows aren't pointing towards him throwing the ball more at all. I mean, he might throw the ball less. He still threw it 570 times last year, which isn't that bad. But this coach wants to run the ball with 3 running backs now. No weapons added. I'm just not excited. I think, and yet the rushing yardage has gone down for him over the last few years. That's what used to keep him like afloat. So now if you take that rushing away, and you're kind of, I'm not excited.
Dude, I go back. I go back and forth with this so much because it's like you see all the coaching changes, you see like how they're drafting and kind of like how they're kind of moving away, but it just seems like through Brett Favre all the way through Aaron Rodgers, it kind of was like the same style play, like passing team. It's like the most passing team in the NFL just historically. You know what I mean? So it's like as much as I like agree with you, I have such a hard time being like, yep, this is a complete change of the Green Bay Packers. You know what I mean?
That was with the old coach.
Well,
Last
no,
year,
I know, but I mean, Mike McCarthy wasn't there when Brett Favre was there.
Maybe. I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't think Mike McCarthy's that old, but you know what I'm saying?
60 or something.
I guess maybe.
Yeah, that was Mike Holmgren.
Oh, yeah. It was,
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, Holmgren, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just, you know what I mean? It's like there's like teams have certain styles of play, you know, over time they kind of run that same. Like the fans become fans of the style of play. Like the Steelers are fans of a team for like blocking and for fucking defense and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just feel like they're known for that. So like but I agree with you. I just have a hard time thinking like everything's gonna change.
Well, you're so used to it. It's like this is Aaron Rodgers, is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. But I mean, like I tell you all the time, I try and play with the littlest emotion as possible.
Proceed with caution for sure.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, they were middle. They went from every year. I went back and looked at like 5, 6, 7, 8 years. They were like top 5 in passing. To your point, Mike. Last year they were middle of the road. They were kind of like balanced. I don't even think they're going to be middle of the road this year. I think they're going to be more probably top, 8 in rushing versus bottom 20 in pass attempts. So it's just, yeah.
I mean, one thing I could say with him is I think it kind of hurts him for so many years. You know, he had Jordy Nelson and then even Devontae Adams. You know, at
Greg
one point
Jennings.
they were both like top 10 wide receivers. And then last year, I know the numbers kind of took a dip. Obviously, new offense, that's going to have some impact. But, I mean, no more Jordy Nelson, like I said. And then, Devontae Adams, who's been a savage for, a couple years now, he gets hurt. He's gone for a big chunk. So, yeah, I think they did lean on the running game a lot because, I mean, who are you throwing the ball? They were throwing the ball to, like, Kumaro and Lazard, and MVS was non-existent. They have Equanimus St. Brown. He's just non-existent. So I am a little shocked, though, that they didn't go out and address. They went out and signed Devin Funchess in free agency. But I mean, outside of that, they really did nothing to help him. And it's kind of like they go out and draft a quarterback in the first round, trade up for him. And then they draft a third running back, A.J. Dillon, out of Boston College. So it's just like, what are they doing? I actually saw something. It was kind of a rumor. They were saying that 2021 Aaron Rodgers will be the quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, I actually heard that too. I heard that too.
So we're all from Vegas, so we're not Raider fans, but obviously we live in Vegas, so we're gonna root for him. But I would love that. So
That'd be dope.
I mean, who knows? Maybe he wants to go out one last year and just, if he knows this is his last year, he just wants to stick it to the coaches and everyone be like, yo, I'm still fucking Aaron Rodgers. I'm gonna go out on top. But
Yeah.
it's tricky with the lack of receiving weapons. I mean, there's no tight end there, and outside of Devontae Adams, who's obviously going to eat and do his own thing, as you see on the highlight right there. But outside of that, yeah, he really has no one to throw the ball to.
I'd be so mad if I was Aaron Rodgers. Is kind of just football for a second. It's like you see these other teams going out and like, you know, the Eagles are upgrading for Carson Wentz. You got, you know, the Raiders, they're going after weapons.
I mean, the Cowboys don't even need a receiver, and they're just like, oh, we'll just take a third one.
I mean, at that point, they should have called the Packers and be like, yo, you want this pick?
Yeah. And then they do literally nothing to help Aaron Rodgers. Oh, they get him a blocking tight end. He's probably like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
He's like a fullback or whatever the fuck he was.
Yeah,
I mean,
terrible.
We have him at 9, right? Is that 9?
Yeah.
So I looked. That's where I had him, and I should have him probably lower, but I went to look and just to make sure the numbers right. So how many picks did Jameis have last year?
The mostest.
30.
30. Okay, so I went to look. Aaron Rodgers has had 32 interceptions in the last 6 seasons
I
combined.
thought you were gonna say ever. I was like,
No. In his last 6 seasons, he has 32 picks, and he only has 12 in his last 3. He only had 4 picks last year, so I think that's probably, looking back, is why I had him so high, because the passing numbers weren't there, but at least dude doesn't turn the ball
His
over.
touchdown to interception ratio is
It's still stupid. So if the O-line could do better, if they can, maybe it's the offense, whatever it is, because they still went 13-3. It's not like they're the worst 13-3 team I think ever. But
yeah, I agree.
But I mean, if they could figure out the offense, at least he's not like doing like Phillip Rivers where he started just forcing the ball. Like Aaron Rodgers isn't doing that. If they can just scheme dudes open or have guys get separation, maybe he can go back to what he was. I mean, because like I said, he's not turning the ball over at least. Like he's making right decisions at least. It's just the completion percentage isn't there because dudes can't get open. But he's not forcing it. So I'd like to see him make that jump unless they play the 49ers. But other than that, yeah.
I think it's going to be like what Mike said, though. Like, he's got that name value. So, like, you're going to be doing your draft, and, like, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson will go. Maybe Russell Wilson goes. And all of a sudden, someone's going to panic. They're going to be like, oh, fuck. I want to, Aaron Rodgers is still there, like, in the 3rd round or 4th round or whatever. And they'll snag him. And you're going to be sitting there thinking, like, bro, like, there's still some good quarterbacks on the board, or you pass on these good receiver, or tight end, or whoever, you know?
Yeah, and in dynasty startup leagues, I can't believe I'm saying this, but this would be like a good buy low because he's older. People probably, aren't really trying to get him in dynasty startups, but he's someone worth taking a shot and maybe getting another couple good years out of while you still get like a young quarterback and let him develop. So, I mean, from a dynasty standpoint, it's crazy to think that time's flying, but he's 36. So.
Yeah, I mean, he could slide into my 12, 13, 14 range, but I left him off of the thing for, it's almost like what you said, for a reason. Just to kind of, like, if people are watching this episode, Mike's point, like, oh, the name Aaron Rodgers is like, I did it, so, if you listen to this episode, it makes people think
I'm not knocking you on it, because like I said, I feel like once you get past like 8 and it's like 9 through 15, I think it's wide open. Honestly, I think it's wide open. It's kind of just what offense can maybe take a leap forward? Maybe some offense will have regression. I mean,
someone could put Goff up there and be like, I think the Rams are going to go back to their thing.
Yeah.
I did it for like a listener standpoint, like so people listening kind of could hear us talking about how it's like, oh, like they might be stuck on the name Aaron Rodgers, like we're kind of saying. It's like I did it, so it's like, hey, think about actually what's going on, what could happen, kind of giving the listeners the possible downside of Aaron Rodgers, so they're not going into their drafts and just thinking Aaron Rodgers is the same. I'm giving them an outlook that is a real possibility. So that's why I did that on purpose.
Or if you're a Packer fan and have Homer syndrome.
But it just shows you each year things change in fantasy.
You heard it here first. Aaron Rodgers sucks.
He likes scotch though. So.
Man, that clip was informative, huh? Well, there's plenty more right here if you click that. Also, go ahead and subscribe right there.